So it will be D'Angelo and the freshman from Pitt, Dom Forries, wrestling for the last automatic spot at 125 pounds in the ACC. Let's bump up to 133 in the Consolation semifinals. From Pitt, it is redshirt freshman Nick Zanetta wrestling Troy Heilmann of North Carolina, number 2 seed, very similar to D'Angelo. Heilmann was knocked off by the 6th seed, Mitch Feinsilver of Duke, in the semifinals. So here comes Heilmann and Zanetta ready to go, and we're off at 133.
And Feinsilver, again, we talked about this earlier, he was a dangerous number 6 seed. He had initially had beat Nordstrom in the dual meet, came back and beat him in the quarters, came back, beat Heilmann in the semis, and now he's in the finals against George DiCamillo from Virginia.
It was only the second loss for Heilmann in ACC competition this year, now 4-2. Had a good Southern Scuffle tournament where he placed 8th. Wrestled 4 ranked wrestlers that weekend. Picked up a victory against Soto of Chattanooga. Lost to Bruno from Michigan, McGuire from Kent State. Then had a rematch with Soto that the Mock eventually won by way of decision.
Nice. I mean, that was a beautiful duck under. Duck under right to a double leg takedown. He didn't even penetrate. He just squatted down, got through, and he's got the takedown. Heilmann's got to get his hips back a little faster. He's going to get ducked down there, get the duck under again.
Zanetta with the early 2-0 lead. He lost earlier today to Meredith of North Carolina State, 6-2. I think that's an important point you made. The semifinal losers have had a short amount of time to regroup, both mentally and physically. They have to come back here and fight for their survival through the backside, while wrestlers like Zanetta have had a couple of hours to regroup. Remember, their first match was at 11 o'clock this morning. They've been sitting since that point.
Many times the guys that just lost at the semis, they are very vulnerable if a guy just goes at them. And many times that's what you had mentioned, that is an important part of the process of wrestling. It's just coming back. You have to be resilient.
2-0 lead for Zanetta. Minute 13 to go. Pitt is in the team race. The Panthers in their second year in the ACC, entering the Consolations in the number 2 spot. The Panthers with 40 points. They have 4 finalists tonight. Virginia, the front runner, with 62 points, and 6th finalist Virginia Tech, the 2-time defending champion, 34 points, 3 finalists.
Zanetta's a pretty big 33-pounder. Talking to their staff, they don't know how much longer he's going to be able to hold this weight at 33. So in the coming years, expect him to be a little bigger, maybe 49-pounder. Sean, this is a prime scenario. Just Heilmann is just looking a little flat, coming in, and he gets warned for stalling. He's just looking flat comparatively to how he has wrestled throughout the year. So tough to come after semifinal loss.
Zanetta continues to work on top. They will restart in the center with 14 seconds to go in this first period. Zanetta trying to follow the footsteps of his older brother Anthony, a 4-time NCAA qualifier at Pitt. Redshirt freshman out of Keystone Oaks High School, right here in Pittsburgh. The Zanetta family. Quick stand up by Heilmann, but count starts as Zanetta drops down to the ankle.
But he came up.
And he brings him right back down to the mat.
This takedown right here, he just drops down, gets right to his hips. Look at this. Drop to the hips. Didn't even do a penetration step. He was underneath once he dropped down, came across. Not much Heilmann can do there.
North Carolina corner, I think, disappointed. Rock, they wanted that count. They wanted that 5 count, like you mentioned, when he dropped right down to the ankle. play there as we start the second period. 2-0 Zanetta with the lead. He will start on top. Let's see if Heilmann can get something cranked up here. Zanetta drop off to the side. Heilmann to his feet. He is free. North Carolina's on the board. The sophomore with the escape.
Let's see if Heilmann can turn it on now. He's got a point. Maybe he had to get a period just to get the juices going, but he's giving up 2.5 minutes of riding time. Guys are just fighting for inside position. It's very important that you get inside position to control the triceps, not the shoulders. When you get inside position, you want to control the triceps.
Inside a minute to go in the second period. Zanetta still with a 2-1 lead. Carolina, all the success through the years in the ACC. The great wrestlers to go through Chapel Hill, Rob Cole, back in the mid-80s, Chucky Connor, late 90s, Justin Hardy in the mid-90s, 93 through 97.
Chucky Connor was a tough wrestler. I wrestled him in college. Very tough and extremely nice guy as well.
Carolina's had 3 national champions. The very first in school history by the coach that sits in the corner for most of the matches, C.D. Mock, brought home the national crown back in 1982 at 134 pounds. Rod Cole, a few years later, won it at 158. And then T.J. Jaworski went on that run in the mid-90s, 3 consecutive titles for the Tar Heels.
And here we go. Heilmann finally getting himself when he's getting in motion. Again, it was flat in the first period, but he's getting his hips away, going to try and cut through, hips lower, and cuts down low, just in case there was going to be a reshot. He kept his hand to the mat just to defend it. Too fast.
Yep, Zanetta with over 2.5 minutes of riding time. So Heilmann on top, trying to get something started on Nick Zanetta, redshirt freshman. Behind an early takedown, he has maintained that lead. Mentioned, let's see what Heilmann can do in the top position. You see the tripod attempt there, trying to get up. Underneath is Zanetta. Heilmann keeps the pressure on the upper shoulders on that back area, keeps him down on the mat.
And it's going right for a little claw ride here, and sealing the hip, almost like a spiral ride, but instead of keeping the fist underneath the armpit, he went for a claw. And now he's trying to get into a tough position with that arm bar. He's got to break that hip down, because as long as his hips are up, it's going to be hard for him to turn Zanetta.
You say break down that hip. Take us inside here. What's he need to do to break down Zanetta's hip on that?
Well, there it is. He came down. He was going to one side, and he used the opposite hand to flatten him out. And so the scenario here, he doesn't need to keep the other wrist. He just needs to put that shoulder right into his ear. And he is running that hard. He is looking for it. But Zanetta's just holding position. It's hard to get called for a stall right here because there's not much you can do. And of course, in that scenario, the fist wasn't perpendicular. It almost went parallel. So the referee said, I got to call it potentially dangerous because it started off in a scenario where it was legal, but then became illegal by the motion of the wrestler.
See Zanetta getting back to his position, shaking that right shoulder joint a little bit. A lot of tendon stretching up in that area with a guy like Heilmann's working on you into a stand-up. See the leg applied by Heilmann. He'll bring Zanetta right back down, face first onto the mat.
It's going right back to that arm bar.
He's very close to wiping out the riding time.
And Zanetta's going to get way up there as a warning.
See the cross face by Heilmann, working it hard, trying to turn Zanetta. He has erased the riding time, so if If he can work Zanetta over, he'll be in good shape. He trails by a point. That score is true at 2-1.
Zanetta's got to do something or he might get banged again. He's got to really start working. He's got to keep his head up because right now, oh my goodness, he let him up.
Heilmann cuts him free on the edge, making it a 3-1 score for Zanetta. So it's now or never for Heilmann. He knows it.
Okay.
He's looking,
Oh,
he's
my.
launching. Drops down to a leg.
Beautiful!
Hooks up the second and gets 2.
Wow! Wow! That is a great hustle. We were questioning why he let him up. Even Coleman Scott was looking, why is he letting him up?
So we go into a 1-minute sudden victory.
Again, now he's got those thoughts of the semifinal loss out, and he's come on after that first period. He raced 2.5 minutes of riding time.
So he needed all 7 minutes, and he secured the final takedown in the final seconds. New life for Heilmann in sudden victory. 3-3 our score. Again, this is really big for Pitt. If they're trying to keep their team hopes alive and try to keep the freshman Zanetta coming through the consolation side.
And the other thing that's going to happen too is that, oh, look at that wonderful. This is a good comeback. Good comeback.
Heilmann in terrific position, and he finishes
Good
the job.
comeback.
The Tar Heel stays alive. Troy Heilmann, the sophomore. Look, he looked like he was dead in the water there for a little bit.
He was. I'm telling you.